sector is clear.
Give us everything we got!
What is happening, everybody? This is AK the War Eagle, and I am back with another video. This time it's going to be a tutorial on how to play the Interceptor role in Star Wars Battlefront 2. Primarily mostly involving Starfighter Assault. Okay, so one of the first things you want to do is go to your controls and then scroll down to Advanced Flight and keep it turned on. If it's turned off, turn it back on. And with Disable Role, you're going to want to turn it off. Then you want to scroll down and find the controls you like. Personally, I like Legacy Southpaw as opposed to default, but you just got to figure out what works for you. From there, I would go to the campaign and play the mission called the Dauntless. Since this mission is mostly involving starfighters, it'll give you a good feel for not only the controls, but it's also a good practice warm-up for things to come online. My second tip would be only buy Starfighter Crate. It's one of the cheapest crates you can get, and it still gives you everything from hero cards to trooper cards, but it's mostly going to focus on starfighters. The next big thing you want to do is know your star cards. For example, what I personally use is Advanced Capacitors, which gives you a 40% heat reduction when it's epic. I also use Tuned Lasers, which gives you a 10% increased gun damage when epic. And finally, Elite Pilot, which gives you a 20% turning increase. Next thing you want to do is know each starfighter's strengths and weaknesses. While most of the interceptors do have similar abilities, for example, all of them have afterburners, not all of them play the same. For example, with the V-Wing, you're going to have one of your abilities being Heat Flush, as well as Laser Barrage. The Droid Tri-Fighter for the Separatist, on the other hand, has also the Heat Flush, which prevents overheating, but instead of the Laser Barrage, it has a Heavy Cannon, which does a maximum damage. The TIE SF, or Special Forces for the First Order, is unique in that it has a rear turret which shoots at the closest enemy, but it also has a missile launcher for it. The TIE Interceptor for the Empire, and the RZ-1 and RZ-2 A-Wing for the Rebel Alliance and Resistance not only feature a missile launcher, but also a lock-on feature that allows them to keep track of where your enemy target is. My next tip for you is just punch it. Just hit the afterburner as soon as you spawn in, because by the time you're going to need it again, it's already going to be refreshed. As the Interceptor, your role is to get in there and just kill as many starfighters as you can. Also keep in mind that unlike the last game, speed does not affect your weapon strength. So just go ahead and just punch it in there. For your next tip, learn to use long range. While the Interceptor is good at up-close and personal dogfights, the Interceptor can also get kills at long range. Use this time as you're spawning in to pick off targets from a distance. Tip number 7 is be aware of your surroundings. You can use the left or right buttons on the D-pad to look behind you, so that you can see if any enemies are trailing you. Also know the maps well enough so that you can get out of dodge if you need to. For example, on Fondor in the first phase of the map, you can go underneath the facility to get away from enemy fighters. Which brings us to the next tip as well. Disengagement. Just because you have somebody in your sights doesn't mean you should keep following them and get tunnel vision. That will just get you killed. Don't be afraid to break off the attack and let the enemy get away if it means your survivability. Number 9 is know your role. While the Interceptor has the weakest guns in terms of objective play, doesn't mean it can't still do damage. Don't be afraid to shoot at the objective every once in a while. It helps your score out and it helps your team out as well. Tip number 10 is don't panic. While the Interceptor does have the weaker shields, it doesn't mean it's the weakest fighter out there. Now, in 2v1 situations, you are more likely to die and you're just going to have to accept that fact. But that doesn't mean it'll always happen, and sometimes you can get out of it if you don't panic and you rely on skill. For example, in this clip here, I am targeting Darth Vader's TIE Advanced X1, but an enemy TIE fighter decides to also join in the party. So I disengage Darth Vader's TIE fighter and decide to engage the regular TIE fighter, since it is the weaker ship. I take it out, and then decide to promptly re-engage Darth Vader's TIE fighter. Seeing as how I'm able to outturn Vader, I'm able to keep up with him. Unfortunately, the match ends and neither of us gets the kill. So it was one heck of a dogfight. So shout out to Dune Champion for this awesome gameplay of us fighting it out. So there you have it. 10 tips that'll help you be a better interceptor pilot in Star Wars Battlefront 2. If you like what you saw, leave a comment down below, and I may try to do more if you guys like it, as well as leave a like and subscribe to the channel, and I'll try to upload even more. And as always, have a good one.